5 PGA Tour predictions for 2026. The 2026 PGA Tour season is set to tee off next week with the Sony Open in Hawaii, and the race for the FedEx Cup will officially be on. 2026 has some big shoes to fill, as 2025 was one of the most exciting PGA Tour seasons we have ever seen. From Rory McIlroy completing the career Grand Slam to Scottie Scheffler tying the PGA's 72-hole scoring record to Tommy Fleetwood finally winning his first PGA Tour tournament at the Tour Championship, it was an unforgettable experience from start to finish. But what does 2026 have in store? Could it somehow be more memorable than the 2025 season? 5 PGA Tour predictions for 2026. There are a few big stories that will define the 2026 season. Let's call our shot for 5 things we see happening on the tour this season. Number 1. Scottie Scheffler completes the career Grand Slam. Historically speaking, for most golfers, the last leg of the career Grand Slam has been by far the most difficult to win. But Scottie Scheffler isn't like most golfers. He's a generational talent on a generational run in the midst of a generational peak. Sure, it took Rory a decade to finally get it done, but 99% of that battle was in between the years for him. Scottie Scheffler doesn't quite look at or approach the game in the same way most others do. He sees it as a privilege and doesn't put too much unnecessary weight on his shoulders or mind because he knows at the end of the day, it's just a game, and there are far more important things in life, which makes him extremely dangerous on the course. That mindset will allow him to play freely in the US Open in June, and he will get it over with early and never have to worry about it again. Number 2. Tommy Fleetwood fully breaks out. There's a term in basketball for shooters in a slump. All you need is to see one go in. For Fleetwood, all he may have needed was to just get that first PGA Tour victory under his belt for him to fully break out. Now that he's cleared that mental hurdle and done it in a big way, 2026 should be his to conquer. Expect Fleetwood to be at the top of leaderboards very regularly, winning a few more tournaments and possibly even adding a major to his resume, which would be the next great step for him to take. Number 3. Ludvig Åberg threatens at the Masters, wins a major later in 2026. Ludvig Åberg's track record at Augusta is very good in his first 2 starts, having finished 2nd in 2024 and 7th in 2025. In 2026, you can expect Åberg to once again be a threat to win the Masters, possibly holding the lead at points and even pushing for the win late, but he won't win it. Instead, he will continue his hot form, and it will pay off at a later date, winning one of the other 3 majors over the next few months after the Masters, claiming the biggest win of his young career and possibly kickstarting a hot streak. Number 4. Marco Penge reaches the top 10 by season's end. Marco Penge is a hot name among fans this season to break out on the tour, but he could do more than just break out. 2 things commonly mentioned about Penge are his elite power off the tee and his green in regulation percentage. When you can keep up with Rory off the tee and find greens in regulation more often than Scottie, you're setting yourself up to quickly become one of the world's best golfers. Don't be shocked if Penge stacks a few great finishes and possibly some wins in 2026, putting him in the world top 10 by season's end. Number 5. Scottie Scheffler breaks the PGA 72-hole scoring record. If you remember earlier, I mentioned that Scottie Scheffler tied that record last year at the PGA Cup by Nelson, finishing at 31 under par on 253 strokes. Scheffler could have broken the record on that day, but had a few miscues on the last 2 holes that kept him away from it. It's not hard to believe that on one fateful weekend in 2026, Scheffler will be as locked in as we'd ever seen, and he will find a way to do what he couldn't do last year, breaking the record.